Thanks, Chris. Good idea to get that on before
Yeah.
Trevor has to remind us that it needs to get on. Mhm.
Do believe it's 7 o'clock.
All right, we will begin in that case. This is the Wellfleet Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for February 24th. And our first case is 2131 Brown, 60A Designers Road, map 23, parcel 7A, application for special permit under the Wellfleet zoning bylaw 6.1.5B to construct a deck within the setbacks. And this was continued from back in December, I believe, Mr. Brown. And so the board remains Jan, Trevor, Mick, Will, and myself. Okay, Mr. Brown, you're on.
Okay, back in the December meeting, December 9th, the members of the Zoning Board of Appeals had expressed a desire to have a plot plan done by a surveyor. And I retained the professional services of Jason Ellis, and he has done the plot plan, and I believe it's been provided to all of you. Another member of the Zoning Board of Appeals requested a letter from the leadership of the Saltbox Cottages Association, the Condominium Association, expressing support or no objection to our deck, and that has been provided to you as well. The only thing I would point out on the plot plan that Jason Ellis did, the proposed deck shows 4 steps, 4 stairs coming down, and our plan is simply to have 2 stairs on that side, because I'm hoping to have my wife be able to use this westerly side of our cottage as a...
Seem to have frozen for a minute, Mr. Brown.
Oh, we are getting a storm, so
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
talk
just-
fast.
here we go. He's back.
Yeah.
Oh,
You froze for a minute, just as you were saying your wife wanted your wife to use the 2 stairs rather than the 4. So if you just finish that thought.
And thank you. And we showed it with 4 steps, knowing that it still is no closer to the property line than the existing northwesterly corner of our cottage currently is.
Okay, great. All right. And I would say that we have 3 letters for this. One is, as Mr. Brown said, from the Condo Association on behalf of the managing board of the Saltbox Cottages. I can inform you that we reviewed Mr. Brown's proposal for a deck and we have no objection to the proposal. And then from the cottage B, which is the immediate neighbor to the east. Hi, Doug. Jen and I are in complete support of this for you. No problem from our perspective. We wish well with the construction process. Please let us know if you need anything from us. And then a letter from the other side.
Actually,
Cottage C said, we did see the notice for February 24th, and since Leanne and I did not object to it, we were not planning on joining looking forward to the season starting and all the best with your deck. Those were the letters we got. Does we have anyone from the audience who wants to speak to this case? You can raise your hand by hitting that raise your hand button if you want to raise your hand. Seeing no hands, I will go to the board. Will, do you have any questions?
I have no questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Trevor?
No, I don't have any questions, and I think that he submitted what we asked for, and I appreciate the site plan, which is exactly what we would have wanted to have seen. So I have no questions or comments.
Okay, great. Mick?
I just reiterate what Trevor said. I have no problem with it.
Okay, and Jan?
I have no problems, but I have a couple questions because I drafted findings and I need a little more information. Through you, Sharon, to Mr. Brown. Is it correct? The drawings in hand lettering says it's a 200 square foot deck system. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
That's okay. Let me turn up your in the hand drawings that you submitted to us. I believe it says that the deck system is 200 square feet. Is that correct?
It's actually a little less than that. It is.
I can't.
19.
How much? I can get it, Jan. How much is it, Mr. Brown?
It's 9 feet by 18.
Can't hear you.
9 feet by 18. So whatever that is. Who's good at math quickly?
If you add up the deck and the steps that go off the deck, should probably also be included. I get 206 square feet. So
Okay.
I think the 200 is pretty.
Yeah,
Pretty
it sounds like 200 works. Okay, good. Okay, next question, Jan. Did you get that one? Jan, did you hear the answer that between the deck and the stairs, it is about 200?
I can't hear anybody.
Oh, okay. Well, that is a problem. That's.
I can't hear
That,
anybody.
that must be on your end, Jan.
Yeah, that must be on your end. Why don't you try logging out and coming back in? It's one way to do it anyway.
Someone needs to send Jan a text.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
I can.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, we can hear you, but you
I
can't
can't
hear
hear
us,
any
so
of
it doesn't
you.
work. Okay. Two. I don't know if she's looking at the chat. Mm. I will text her.
Technology.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Jerry Co-Stevens.
Yeah.
I am the neighbor to the rear of the Browns cottages, and I just wanted to state I have no objections. I am probably the closest cottage to the Browns
Okay.
on the south side. I'm sorry I couldn't seem to get everything navigated here on the Zoom. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. We're all having a little trouble with Zoom tonight. So Mr. Stevens, thank you very much. So
Sure. Thank
right.
you.
I think one of Jan's other questions, because I have her findings just for the clarification of the findings, is that this is a seasonal use cottage. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And we don't need that. And no part of the college colony can be closer than 25 feet to another, but you're already closer than that. So it's a pre-existing nonconformity, I believe.
Correct. And that's just to the single cottage to our east.
Yes, right.
Can you hear me? I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. So Jan, I asked your question about seasonal, and I asked your question about the fact that they will be no closer than they are right now. So
It's okay. And the 200 square feet we got?
yes, we got the 200
Okay.
square feet.
And
Yes.
you asked the question about any closer as it relates to the section of the bylaw that says that no part of a cottage can be closer than 25 feet
Right.
to another. Okay.
It's no closer than it is right now.
Well, now I'm rattled and I have to look for all my notes. Okay, I think I'm good. I think those are all my questions.
I think
Oh,
it
I know
was.
what else.
Yeah.
Just to also confirm, I don't believe you wrote this in your application, but this is a seasonal dwelling, correct?
That is correct. The entire Saltbox Cottage closes from November 1st to April 1st.
Right. Mhm.
I happened to contact the assessor when you first appeared before us, and she told me that one was a year-round dwelling and all the others, which I believe there's 10 are seasonal.
That is correct.
So there's 11 altogether, 10 seasonal, 1 year-round.
Which is the
Correct.
way cottage colonies ordinarily are,
Yeah,
right?
just
Yeah.
to make sure, because I
Yeah,
want to make
sure.
sure we get the right thing in our,
On our findings,
Findings.
right? Mhm.
I think I'm done then.
Super. Okay. Retha, did you have any questions?
No,
Okay. I don't see anyone else that I need to ask. All right. I think I need a motion to move to findings.
I'll make a
So
motion to
moved.
move to findings.
Okay. I think a lot of people did. And
I'll second it.
okay. I think Trevor and Mick both made that motion and Will seconded it. So whichever you want to put down, Chris, is fine. Okay, and these are findings thanks to Jan. This is an application for a special permit under Wellfleet zoning bylaws. Wellfleet to allow for the construction of a 200 square foot deck system, hereby referred to as the addition, within the setbacks. The dwelling is entitled to treatment as a lawfully pre-existing non-conforming structure, having been built in 1950, according to the assessor's office. The Zoning Board of Appeals, hereby referred to as the board, has received and reviewed the plans and drawings pertaining to the project, all of which are in the file. The board has made a site inspection of the subject lot. This is a single-story, pre-existing, non-conforming 600 square foot seasonal use cottage located in the pre-existing non-conforming Saltbox Cottages colony. 1 year-round dwelling and 9 additional seasonal dwellings are also located on the lot. The college colony is located on a 107,458 square foot conforming lot in the R1 zoning district. The dwelling is pre-existing non-conforming as to minimum front yard setback 5.1 where 30 feet is required, minimum side yard setback 13.6 feet to the west property line at the closest point to Designers Road, where 25 feet is required. And
Should
we
we
went,
just say
sure.
less than 25 feet between dwellings?
Yeah, we'll just say and less
Then
than 25 feet per dwelling between
between
dwellings.
dwellings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Between dwellings. Okay. The applicable provisions for this application under the Wellfleet zoning bylaws are sections 3.2, district objectives, 5.4.2, minimum yard requirements, 5.4.11, intensity of use application to cottage colonies, 6.1.5.1b, alterations of non-conforming single-family dwelling, which increases the non-conformity, and 8.4.2, special permit granting criteria. The applicant proposes to construct the addition to the rear and west side of the dwelling. To the west, the addition will extend 4 feet further into the side setback, with 14.8 feet being the closest distance to the property. To the east, the addition will extend within 24 feet to the abutting dwelling. There will be an increase in building coverage. There will be no change or increase in use. There was one appearance in support of the application. There were, and 2 letters in support of the application. There were no appearances or correspondence in opposition to the application. There was a letter from Harvey Schrag, treasurer of the Saltbox Cottages Managing Board, stating that the managing board had no objections to the proposal. There were no objections from abutters. The board finds that the use conforms with the objectives of the R1 district as stated in Wellfleet zoning bylaw 3.2. Wellfleet zoning bylaw 6.1.5.1b. The board finds that the addition will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming structure. And Wellfleet zoning bylaw 8.4.2, the board finds that the applicant has demonstrated that the benefits of the addition will outweigh any adverse effects on the town and the vicinity, and the addition is suitable in that it is compatible with nearby land uses, which would not be damaged by the construction of the addition, that the addition will not contribute to the environmental damage, that the roads, drainage, and other public services are adequate for the addition, that the addition will not affect diversity of services or housing opportunities or have seasonal consequences, and that there will be no adverse effect on scenic views, existing parking areas, or traditional public access to or along the shoreline. That's what I got. Thank you, Jan.
I'll make a motion to move the findings.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Nick,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Jan,
Aye.
and Sharon. Aye. And having accepted the findings, I need a motion to grant the special permit.
So moved.
Okay, and Trevor seconds. All in favor? Nick,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Will,
Aye.
Jan,
Aye.
and Sharon. Aye. Thank you, Mr. Brown. We appreciate your patience with us. We did need to fill in all our boxes.
And
Karen, are you sending the findings to Chris?
Yes, I will send the findings to Chris. Yes. Mhm.
very much.
Yes. Okay.
Good luck.
Enjoy your deck.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We will take a minute to shuffle paperwork and call the next case. Okay. And Al did join us. Hello, Al. Welcome. Okay. I'm going to call this case. I'm going to say a couple of things about how we're going to deal with this case, and then I'm going to turn it, then we're going to get started.
Through you, Madam Chairperson.
yes.
I'm in a butter to this
Oh,
project,
yes.
so I will step off from this one. However, my wife will have some things to say as in a butter, okay?
Very good. Yes. So you'll keep it open, and when
It'll
I
be
see a
open.
hand raised, it will be Thelma, not you.
Bingo.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And the board for this case, I'm keeping as close to I could get it from before. So it is me and Sharon and Jan and Will and Retha and Trevor. I'm going to put you on unless you think you don't need to recuse anymore, right? No. Okay, good. All right. All right, that will be the board. All right, here's the case. 2021 Amendment Cape Cod Cannabis NV 1446 State Highway map 30 parcel 6 modifications or eliminations of certain conditions from special permit granted on June 11th, 2020, which includes operating hours, modify, eliminate business operations by appointment only and requirement of a parking lot attendant, eliminate a post-occupancy traffic study, removal of coordination with the Wellfleet Police Department and retaining police detail, eliminate shuttle service to transport employees during summer season, modify signage condition allowing company logo and designation as a cannabis dispensary, and approval to change its existing window films to display the same content as the proposed sign, waive feasibility study for traffic and safety improvements within the Route 6 right-of-way, waive or postpone tree planting requirement, remove conditions 3, 9, 22, and 23, and or recognize that the same have been satisfied. Now, I did want to give a little background on this one because this goes back and some people were not on the board when it began. We granted this permit in June of 2020. We heard the bulk of this case in March at our last in-person meeting before the world shut down. This was the third permit we granted for a marijuana store, not the first. As the applicant states, we granted additional permits, earlier permits on July of 2019 and in September of 2019. This application raised the most town and neighborhood concern because of its location at a very busy intersection. So when we granted the permit, we imposed a number of conditions on the applicant with the stipulation that the applicant could come back to us after a season of operation and petition to have these conditions modified or removed. And that is where the applicant, that's where we are today. The applicant is coming back for that modification or removal. The procedure we're going to follow is this. The applicant is petitioning for relief on 8 conditions. And the applicant is asking that the board recognize that 4 other conditions have been met and that no further action needs to be taken by the applicant. That could get to be very confusing, jumping back and forth between conditions. So on advice of town council, this is how we're going to deal with this. We will take up each condition separately. The applicant will present the case. We'll hear from the audience. The board will discuss it, and then we'll vote on that condition. Then we'll move on. It needs to be noted, however, that nothing is final until the board has voted on all the conditions. If we've moved on, but something comes up that requires reconsideration of a vote already taken, we will vote to reopen that part of the hearing and revote. Is that clear? Does everybody understand how we're going to work that?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So, okay, I believe, Mr. Freeman, it is your call from here. So take us through. Condition 1 is the adult use marijuana establishment shall be permitted to operate between the hours of 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 12 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Sundays for adult use marijuana purpose. That is the condition at the moment.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. For the record, Peter Freeman, attorney, Freeman Law Group in Yarmouthport, and Larissa Cavaliva, the manager and CFO of the company, is also with me to give some brief explanation and answer any questions. By the way, I appreciate what you just went through. I was thinking on my own, what is the best way to go through it? And I'm totally in accord that it makes sense. The only thing I would do before getting into that first condition modification request is just a very brief background, which again, you helped describe the history. And indeed, that's why we're back, because of the experience that we've now had. And the experience, in our opinion, sincerely would justify really all of the requests that we are making based on the actual experience and the traffic and things that have happened. Not just happened, but other facilities in the town, which I guess is mostly the sign, because I have pictures of the 2 signs that are on 2 of the other facilities. So if I can succeed in screen sharing, just we have statistics that show really a chart that shows 3 comparisons. One is the activity from 2013 to 2015 of the previous general store. And that shows it by month also, and then the average visits or transactions per day. Then there's a constant line that shows the 480 that was the proposed or projected at the time of the permitting, or almost 2 years ago. And then thirdly is the actual experience, because they have kept track methodically of the actual transaction. So if I succeed, I see screen share. Let me see. Let me see. I'm not quite sure if I can find how I'm supposed to get to my file.
It should be on the bottom.
Yeah,
Little
I found that, but well, let's see. It's not getting me to my database, which is the problem. Can't quite figure that out. I don't want to take unnecessary time. But let's see. Connect to SharePoint. Connect. No, that's not working.
Do you want me to share mine?
Yeah, although I'm not sure that we sent it in. It's a chart that we prepared afterward.
I can share my screen. Unless you've figured it out already.
Yeah, no, I haven't, but do you have the chart? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Okay. Then if you don't mind, I apologize, but thank you. Perfect. Thank you very much. So the top of the chart with the table gives the actual figures in a tabular form, and then the charts below show the three comparisons that I mentioned. But Larissa, do you want to
Yes.
microphones on and you can explain this to the folks?
Yes, we presented this in original when we got approved in 2020. So the blue line is the general store for average of the 3 years. The green line is the proposed number that we got approved for. And the orange one is the actual sales per the POS and per the state, what we send to the states. So these are transactions per day during the peak season, starting from the Memorial Day to the Labor Day. So on the green button, the top right corner, we perform about 25% of what we said that we will, or we're allowed to. And just to take a note that the Piping Clover opened on May 22nd. So they were open during that peak season, but Terps only opened very late in the season on August 10th.
Okay, so thank you for that, Larissa. So you can keep it up if you'd like, but I'm not sure we need to. I can go back to the.
We can always go back to it if you need to go back to it
Exactly.
later on if somebody's confused.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So again, based on the actual history and the transactions, the first request, which is modifying condition number 1 about the hours, it's in 2 parts. We're asking that we be allowed to open at 8 instead of 10 and continue to 8 p.m., which is already in there. Although Monday through Saturday, and then on Monday through Saturday, and then 12 a.m. to 8 p.m. Is more restrictive. So we would ask for the same modification. And then very importantly related is that right now it is limited to appointments only.
But let's deal with hours first so that
Sure,
I can get the
absolutely.
answers to that one. And then
Absolutely.
you can go to appointment only after that. I'd like to get rid of things as they go. I think we should probably take the screen down. That way it'll be easier for me to see the board and see anyone in the audience who wants to speak. If we
Yep.
could
Give me one
stop.
second.
Mhm.
I
There,
have to
I
figure
can,
it
I
out
can do
how-
it. Yeah, there.
Okay.
I've got it. Okay, good. Okay, so this first condition is to change the hours of operation from 10 a.m. on Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and 12 to 8 on Sundays, and to change it to 8 to 8. I guess I'm going to ask for anyone in the audience who wants to speak to that first. Then I'll ask, and I'll go around the board. Okay, not seeing anyone in the audience for that. Okay, Trevor.
Well, this is going to be a long process, Sharon.
Yes, it is.
I guess my first question is, does anyone know why it was limited to the hours it was limited to in the condition in the first place? And I also wonder if we know if the other 2 cannabis stores in town have operating hours that are, a condition of their permit and what those might be. Those are my questions at the moment.
Okay, I'm going to hold those for a minute and collect them all. Will?
No, I don't have any questions. My only comment is that seems reasonable to me.
Mhm.
For many, many years, we had coffee every day down at the general store when Paul Sousa was the manager, and we got in there 7 o'clock every day. The PB Boulangerie, I believe, is open at 7 o'clock. The Blue Willow is open, I believe, at 7:30. 7:30. So the hours actually they're asking to be open start later than the surrounding businesses. So I have no problem with this request.
Okay, good. Al, do you have questions?
No, and I apologize for logging in late. My computer just refused to boot up. So
We've all had strange computer things today. We couldn't hear Jan for a while.
my only comment on all this would be that the statistics that are gathered were gathered during a pandemic. So
Yes.
that would be, I don't know whether that would skew, the statistics based on, what the general store had, in a normal year. So just as a general thing, that's what I'm sort of thinking of. And I'm wondering whether it would be possible, if necessary, to reinstate any of these conditions if we, grant approval and things go south.
Interesting question. Okay, I'm going to leave that one too while I collect. Jan, do you have any questions?
To the best of my memory, I don't think we imposed these hours on Cape Cod Cannabis. I believe they offered these hours and we accepted. I looked up, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Terps requested 9 to 8 and Piping Plover requested 10 to 8. I think 8 is a little earlier. I think 9 is, the others, nobody opens before 9. I would be more, I would think 9 would be early enough.
Okay. And Retha?
I don't see a problem with this.
Yeah. And Trevor, to go back to the history, yes, Jan is correct. Most of the conditions that were imposed on this property were not imposed on the others, but in many cases, the applicant offered these as conditions because of the neighborhood opposition and an attempt to be a better neighbor than neighbors thought that they were going to be, I think. So I don't think that we particularly came up with these hours. I think that this was the suggestion which we took. I don't think we just pretty much with all of these, I think, took the hours that the applicant wanted. I don't myself have a problem with this. I don't see why anybody would want to open at 8 o'clock in the morning, but I don't think that the applicant actually, from the way I read this, wants to necessarily open at 8. I think what they want is the flexibility to switch their hours around. Would that be correct?
Yes, that's correct. We just don't want to be locked in, like for Sundays for a purpose. We were willing to extend the hours, but we were not able to because we were locked in at the times of what were proposed at the time. So we just want to have the ability to change them. A lot of the other dispensaries shorten their hours in the winter. We wanted to extend it a little bit. We don't say that we're going to open at 9. According to the regulations, we can be open from 8 to 9, but I know that the town bylaw says till 8 p.m. So we just want to be our choice when the hours would be for each day.
Did you have other questions, Trevor? Okay. Are you ready for a vote on this particular one?
Sure.
Retha?
I think Al's question about can this be reimposed if it doesn't work, or if there's another huge, influence.
I don't know the answer to that one. Yes, Mr. Freeman.
My thought on that is that you probably could. It's the reverse of the revisiting that was anticipated, as you correctly stated, in that the expectation was that perhaps things could be made more flexible, a little more relief, which is naturally what we're asking. To have a condition that says you grant, in this case, this condition number 1 request. It's not 100% practical because there's no real benchmark, and I can't, allow something that is in a way arbitrary, not because of any, any intentional effort on any of the board members or the town to do something that's unfair, but, I'm not quite sure how we can craft what the standard would be.
Right.
So I think, given that and I'll just make one more comment in terms of the experience, given that it is allowed under the, Cannabis Control Commission and the bylaw in general and the surrounding area, I don't really think that this one needs to be conditioned on the comeback in a year or some time frame. The other thing that someone asked about, which is a logical question, the experience was in part during the pandemic and less activity. But Larissa, basically, I think it was essentially this past summer, just about back to, both with traffic and the community in general. And I know from rentals on the Cape and all of that, the summer of 21 certainly was pretty normal. I don't have, Cape Cod wide statistics to support that, but I do know that that's pretty much the case. And Larissa, I don't know if you wanted to comment on that.
Yes, I spoke to our neighbor, which is a Beachcomber, and they said that during 2020 and 2021, their sales have been increased from 2019, the non-COVID year. So if their business and traffic increase in, I think they're the most, the store that generates the most traffic to the plaza. So I think if they're seeing the increase, it should be counted as a normal regular year.
Yeah. It was not my sense that the traffic was less this summer. Well,
Yeah, I have two comments. One is I'm friends with Al Kogos, who operates the liquor store, and in response to Al's question, Al had Al Kogos had a bumper year last year. Sales were way up. And the other question that I have on setting the hours, I don't think it's our job to set hours for businesses. That's a slippery slope. If a coffee shop came in and we say, we don't want you to open before 9. I mean, what justification do we have? And I don't think we should be the morals police. If this is a pot shop versus a liquor store versus a coffee shop, I don't think that should be in our purview.
Okay. Are you ready for a vote on this particular condition? Okay. So I need a motion.
I would move to waive that condition on the hours of operation as set forth in the application.
Do I have a second?
We're not waiving it, really. We're amending it, right? We're amending.
No, we're taking it away.
We're removing it. We're removing that condition.
Second it.
I think what we're doing is we're not waiving it. We're removing the condition that
We're
we
not
put on it.
replacing it with the 8 to 8 condition?
No.
Oh,
No,
that's just
actually,
a
we're
general-
removing. Yeah, well, 8 to 8 p.m. is Wellfleet zoning bylaw. We don't have.
So we don't need a condition on that.
We don't need a condition on that because
Okay.
that's just in the bylaws right now. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah, so we are removing the condition
Okay.
and allowing them the flexibility of 8 to 8. Retha has seconded that. So Trevor,
We're voting?
we're voting.
Yes,
Yeah, we're
aye.
voting. Will?
Aye.
Sharon, aye. Jan?
Aye.
And Retha.
Aye.
Okay. All right, condition 13, the applicant shall operate on an appointment-only basis and the applicant shall employ a parking attendant on duty during all business hours to assist with parking and site circulation. Mr. Freeman.
The basis for the request is essentially the same, that, it has naturally limited, we think unnecessarily, the business, the operations. Naturally, they would expect that there could be somewhat more business, but not to the extent that it would, could take away from the very smooth operations and complete compliance with the conditions which they've been operating under. We don't know of any concerns, having, been in touch with the police department as required, and just as a general matter in due course. So again, Larissa can answer any other specific questions if you have them. But we think that, the request is justified. And I actually didn't put it in here, and if I'm wrong, forgive me, but I don't think that the other operations have the appointment only restriction.
All right, is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak to this? Seeing no hands, I will go to Al, you may,
No, no,
oh,
no.
oh yeah, there,
Nick
I do
Lynch.
have a hand now. Yes. Yes. Miss-
Oh, hi there, Madam Chairman. This
Hello.
is- Hi, I'm in a butter and.
And you need to state your name for the record.
Oh, sure. It's Thelma Blakely,
Mhm,
and I reside at 1457 State Highway
mhm.
here in South Wellfleet. I'm right across the street from the store. I do think there's going to be an increase in people visiting the shop if they do eliminate the appointment only. I don't know if you're talking just to that or both.
Right now, we're talking to the appointment only and the parking and site
Yeah,
circulation.
and I also wanted to suggest that the parking attendant be on site at the weekends at a minimum. It's very, very busy over there on the weekends. A lot of times, and I'm over there practically on a daily basis. Saturdays and well, particularly Saturdays are very, very busy with the post office and the Blue Willow and so forth. That's basically what I wanted to say. I think that there will be an increase due to, having people stop in there. And even though, the bike trail is done and the renovations are done up there, I still would like to see a parking attendant on site because it's just a really, really, really busy parking lot. And I did call the town a few times when there was no parking available there at all to pick up the mail. So I just wanted to put in my comments.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Madam Chairman, just for
Yes.
one quick comment, just to
Yep.
amplify, and I certainly appreciate our neighbor's comment.
Mm.
There is no question that getting rid of appointments only, it is clearly because we want to have more business. There's no getting around that. That's what we said, and we do acknowledge that.
Mhm.
But we believe that there's so much leeway, again, going back to the chart, you don't have to pull it up. But in terms of the anticipated or proposed 480 transactions per day, the overall differential between reality over the last more than 1 year and the 480 is 357 transactions fewer. So there's really a lot of leeway. So that's really part of the justification. It's not like we think that there's, some large increment involved, even if there are substantially more trips or transactions. It's still very likely to be well within the 480 that were projected.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. To the board. Dan.
There's
You
a
have another
hand.
Mr. O'Connor or Ms. O'Connor.
I don't think they have they do have their hand up. I'm sorry. Yes, Ms. O'Connor, I did not see your hand. It's yellow against your yellow wall. Yes.
Hi, this is William O'Connor. I am in a butter. We are directly behind
Mhm,
across the bike path. I reiterate what Thelma said.
mhm.
It was a pandemic year. It was a first year of operation. The conditions were working. It wasn't that bad. I think taking off the conditions, I think is asking for the traffic to kind of skyrocket in that area. Parking lot is extremely busy. They've got a lot of parking spaces where they can direct their customers to their own parking spaces. I feel it should just be left in place.
Okay. Thank you. And Miss
Larissa has.
Larissa.
yeah, Larissa has.
Yes, I just
Mhm.
want to address the parking lot. First of all, the bike trail behind was closed, so everybody was parking up front. We had
Mhm.
plenty of spaces in the back, so there was no issues of the parking, even with the 31 spaces that were blocked during the construction during the peak season.
Mhm.
Second, that's to the appointments. We only did 25% of the appointments that we had. So lifting the appointments doesn't really change that. We will still be under the 480. In addition, at that time, there's 2 more dispensaries that are there and plus there's in Orleans too, that opened up after the season. So there's plenty of dispensaries that we're not the only ones that are going to generate the traffic. When it comes to the parking attendant, we are not the only ones on the plaza. So if the town decides that there is a parking attendant, I think it should be split up among all the tenants on that plaza. We are not there to patrol the parking lot for USPS or any other stores that are on the plaza. Our parking lot is available in the back. We do allow even time to time the PB to use our parking lot. We are very friendly with the Beachcomber people and with the bike rental shop. We have no problems with them the whole season, and all our parking attendant was sitting there in few occasions where he was helpful just because people were lost, but at the time he was just standing there looking how people go in and out.
Okay. Dan.
I'm okay with lifting the appointment only because just based on what they proved to us about how many trips there were in the high season for the general store. I'm thinking though, maybe at least for this year, if they are off appointment only, that they do have a parking lot attendant, let's say from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Okay. Al.
No questions, but I think Jan's comment is worth addressing.
Okay. Will.
Yeah, I agree with Jan in terms of the appointment. That seems to be unnecessary. And the pot shops, the parking attendant. I mean, there was never a parking attendant when the general store was there. There was far less parking, and the general store had 900 people a day. And I used to go. I was friends with again the general manager, so that number seems right to me. And I've been in most of the pot shops in town, and all summer long, there was never a problem getting into any parking lot. You know, so I think we're imposing an unnecessary condition, although I think you guys agreed to it.
They proposed it.
On some of these conditions, I sat there, you guys all agreed to them, and I sat there as a board member, and I thought, you guys are crazy to agree to all this stuff. You're hamstringing yourself. But you did.
Yeah.
But in terms of the parking attendant, I just think that's an unnecessary expense that you shouldn't have to be saddled with.
Trevor.
Oh, I agree with everything that's been said, pro and con. I think the appointments are not necessary, given the sales track record that we've seen so far. And, you know, I was going to suggest something similar to Jan, that maybe we suggest a parking attendant during the summer months. But then I think the applicant is right too, that there's other businesses there. And, you know, it's quite, you know, when the Blue Willow is hopping, you know, she's got as many cars coming in and out as anyone else. So why should they be policing that whole parking lot? So I think I'm fine with eliminating both of those.
Okay.
I think maybe Mick's wife wants to say something. He's got.
I don't think, no, I think she has spoken and she just hasn't taken her hand down. She may
maybe.
want to speak on another condition. I don't know.
Okay.
Ms.
Okay.
Blakely, did you want to speak again, or did you?
Well, I do. I really feel strongly that a parking attendant is needed at a minimum between Memorial Day and Labor Day, and maybe just on the weekends. You know, there's a lot of businesses there. I understand that, but you know, with eliminating the appointments, it's going to draw in a lot of people. And let's face it, we are coming out of a pandemic. Things are going to get busier and busier. I see cars parked on the side of the road coming up to the intersection all the time. They're on the grass there. And I don't know, I just feel really strongly about that. And I feel bad for the elderly and people that are trying to get down there to get their mail and have to circle around 3 or 4 times to get a parking space. And it is, you know, it does generate a lot of cars down there. So that's just my comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Madam Chairman?
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Freeman. yes.
just one quick comment, albeit, yes, the condition is there. I wasn't involved, as you know, with the initial permitting.
Mhm.
And it may have been certainly accepted at the time. Part of that, as you correctly pointed out, was kind of with an initial understanding on both sides that, things would be looked at again later.
Mhm.
And I know this is a very legalistic point, but speaking to some of the folks who have just said that, there are a lot of other stores. And of course, as Larissa said, with some detail, there are a lot of other stores generating really more traffic. And the legalistic part is, in terms of mitigation and conditions, it's supposed to be proportional. You can't make one applicant basically cure an existing problem that's not generated by them. So I don't know how we could get proportionality in here. I know my client would certainly rather have the parking attendant condition eliminated completely, but you're certainly all being very thoughtful and deliberative and airing questions and but being appropriately realistic and supporting what we've asked for so far. Because you can't impose a condition on applicants who aren't here before you. I don't know how you achieve that. At a minimum, I would think that the summer season would be the most that should be required. And even then, it doesn't really meet the letter of the law in terms of making one property owner pay the full freight of something that really is generated by multiple owners. But that's just something for you to consider. And again, I appreciate how you're going through it. Thank you.
Sure. Larissa, did you want to speak again?
Well, I just wanted to mention and remind that we are the largest ones on the property, and we do have 48 parking spaces. And most of the time, the post office people do park in front of our building because it's the closest one, and we're not telling them to move the car. So our parking attendant, if you will enforce this, will only look out after our parking spots, not after post office and finding parking spots for other people. So I think we have more than plenty of parking spaces, and we always tell people, whoever comes in, and if we do see them, they don't park in one of ours, we always tell them that we have the whole parking lot in the back. We have 5 spaces. We have enough parking spaces to accommodate 480 appointments a day when we only contributing 25% of it. So even if it's enforced, I don't think it's going to help the whole plaza. He's just going to be standing there looking at the empty spots.
Thank you. And Retha.
I'm not convinced that they need a parking attendant. If they do, if there is a need for it, it probably should be limited just to the weekends, to the heaviest use.
Okay, thank you. And I wanted to weigh in on this one, and then I'll call on you, Will. First of all, I agree with everyone else. I don't think the appointments is necessary. The applicant offered that. We took it as a way of finding out what would happen. I don't think they need to continue with appointments. As far as the parking lot attendant goes, actually, to me, the parking lot attendant is more of a value to the applicant than it is to the town. I mean, what I would think they would want a parking lot attendant on the weekend to protect their own parking spaces from people who want to go to the beach. But as far as enforcing the rest of the lot, I tend to agree with the applicant that it's not really their job to enforce the whole lot, and they do have adequate parking. Their business is retail. Their business is people go in, get their stuff and leave. There are other places near there where people go and sit with coffee for a very long time. So their parking space is used for much longer than the parking spaces here. So I don't really know that we want to require this applicant to pay for a parking lot attendant. If the applicant wants one, I think that they might be well behooved to do it on the weekends, but I'm not sure that's our job to do. Just my 2 cents. Will?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that from what Larissa just said. Are we asking them to hire a parking attendant to make sure that people that aren't supposed to park on their parking lot don't park in their parking lot? Because then it's going to make the situation worse at the liquor store and it's going to be worse. It's counterproductive where they're going to park. it sounds to me that the applicant's turning a blind eye when some neighboring business customer parks there. And I just think it's just sort of manifestly unfair to think that the liquor store and the sweatshirt shop and the Blue Willow that have absolutely zero parking spaces almost. Maybe Al has a couple in front of the liquor store, and the applicant has dozens. That somehow we punish the applicant, make the applicant hire a parking lot attendant seems manifestly unjust.
Anyone else before we go? Jan?
Just one thing, did we not require it of the other two?
Parking
I'm
lot
not sure.
attendant?
Yeah, the other
there-
two, I'm sorry, the other two cannabis.
I
stores.
do not believe there's any parking lot attendant at Terps. I do believe there's a parking lot attendant at Piping Plover.
So, okay.
And I think that parking lot attendant is there for their purposes as well,
Okay, could be. Okay.
which is, I think that person is additional security.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think we required it.
I'm not sure.
Yes, Trevor.
If we're ready, I'll make a motion to
Okay.
remove those two, or that it's a two-part condition, I guess, to remove that condition.
The appointment of basis and the parking.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
remove condition 13.
Yep.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Jan seconds, all in favor. Will,
Aye.
Retha,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Dan,
aye.
and Sharon, aye. Okay. Condition 14, following the 6 months of operation, which shall be extended to include the first full summer season, if not occurring within the first 6 months of operation, the applicant shall conduct a post-occupancy traffic study and report back to the board on this study at a public hearing. And the board may determine whether any additional traffic calming measures are to be implemented and incorporated into the decision, or whether any existing measures, including the requirement of a parking attendant, may be relaxed.
So, Madam Chairman, thank you. Just briefly, really, same experiential history and the statistics. It's interesting because I deal with vehicle trips per day so much in all the housing projects and other things. But in this particular thing, as was noted earlier, the customers come in and out, they're not having a nice coffee or breakfast for a long time or whatever it is. I don't think that the traffic itself and the number of vehicles is much different than, the number of transactions in and out. So really it's the same discussion that we just had. So I think everything was just said and that Larissa said with more detail than me, applies to this as well. It doesn't really seem necessary. And it is a pretty big expense to, have another traffic study. And again, it's not imposed on the other retail stores. And as been said several times, the general store certainly had a lot more activity without benefit of, any post-permit traffic study. So, that's again why we're asking.
Okay. I don't see audience. Anyone from the audience who wants to speak on this one? Well, I'll start with you then.
Yeah, I think the request is a reasonable one. Their initial, I think that was imposed because no one knew how busy this site was going to be. And obviously it's a lot less busy than the applicant thought it would be, and certainly mountains different than the neighbors thought it would be. And I'm an old attorney, not a traffic engineer, but I can tell you that, to force the applicant to do a traffic study, it's a futile effort in terms of going to produce any evidence that's going to change how we would rule, I would think. That's it.
Jan,
Oh, let me go last, okay? If you don't mind,
Sure.
Sharon,
I don't mind at all.
or before you, how's that?
Mhm. Okay, Al.
I see it Will's way.
Mhm.
So yeah, I have no
Okay.
comment or question.
Trevor.
I see absolutely no reason for a traffic study. It seems
Mhm.
completely unnecessary. The only question I have is, when did they open? Didn't they open at the beginning of last summer?
Right.
So have they operated for a full summer season? It doesn't,
Yes, we opened on April 17th.
you did? Okay. Okay. So as long, yeah, I just want to make sure that that fine print was satisfied, but yeah, I see absolutely no reason for a traffic
Yeah.
study.
Yeah, they were the last permit granted and the first one to open. So sort of opposite in that. Retha.
I don't see a need for the traffic study either.
Jan.
I agree.
The my only feeling about this one was, as an old English teacher, that this was the homework we gave you in order to get your conditions lifted, and you didn't do the homework. So now you're here wanting to lift the conditions, and you don't want to do the homework. So, I looked at this one and thought, well, wait a minute here now. But I do agree that it does seem you've done a good job of tracking the actual trips. And we all know that the traffic in that area is not solely the responsibility of Cape Cod Cannabis. That traffic problem pre-existed then and continues. So I'm not sure that the traffic study would tell you anything that you would know what to do with. So, so I need a motion, I guess.
I'll make a motion to remove that condition.
Okay. And I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor, Retha? Jan?
Aye.
Will?
Aye.
Sharon? Aye. Trevor?
Aye.
Okay, condition 16, for the 6 months of operation between Memorial Day and Labor Day thereafter, and between Memorial Day and Labor Day thereafter, the applicant shall coordinate with the Wellfleet Police Department and hire police details as the chief of police or his designee may require, ensuring safe access and egress from the site.
The short explanation there is essentially what we said in about a short paragraph in the application. And I can certainly have Larissa again speak to it because I haven't personally contacted the police department. But as was intended, they have been in touch with the police. I don't think that the police department had felt the need for a detail at any particular time. So, with a good bit of experience under our belt, it just seems superfluous. And Larissa, if you want to explain further on that, that's fine.
Have you had contact with the police and
Yes, we did.
problems with at all?
Oh, no, they were there the first day we opened. They left about an hour after that, since there was no traffic whatsoever. And they checked up on us a couple times just to see how we're doing and if everything is okay. But we spoke to them. We asked them if there's any work complaints. They said, no, there's no complaints, and they don't see a reason to have the detail there since they have a short supply of staff.
And again, the past discussions are also relevant here, including that there's now 3 operating stores, which would dissipate, any more trips being in this at this one location.
Okay. All right. Retha?
I think it should be removed. I think this condition should be removed.
Okay. Al?
No questions. I agree with Rita.
Jan?
Through you, Sharon, could Larissa please tell me, what is coordination with the police department? What does that really mean? What does that entail?
Well, the original why it's even in there is because they thought we're going to have so much of traffic that it will require the police detail. And that there was also at one point in time was a police detail.
Oh, yes.
Long time ago. but it was lifted because I don't know if it was moved to the beach, I think, if I remember it correctly. So they thought that there might be so much traffic that their police will be needed on site to direct traffic.
Yeah. Okay. Will,
Does that answer the
did
question?
that answer your question, Jan?
It does. I'm just trying to understand with just the wording coordinate, coordinating with them doesn't require you to hire a police detail if it's unnecessary. It just, to me, it just means you touch base with them on occasion.
I think that in this case, what was thought in that, because obviously they would continue to touch base with the police. I mean, I think that's probably,
Yes.
they would need the police for a lot of different reasons, not just traffic. But I think what the operative word in here is, and retaining a police detail, which was, they would pay for it.
Right. Got it.
And,
Yep. Okay.
and now I will bring Bruce back into the conversation, because Bruce would always bring this up at this point in this, when you suggested this, and Bruce was wondering why you were willing to do this. He said, these people pay a huge portion of their revenue in taxes to the town. And the whole point of the Cannabis Act was that that portion of the revenue would reimburse the town for any additional police or fire expenses. And therefore, he felt that the people who were running the places were already paying for the police detail and should not have to be required to pay for it again. So,
Okay.
So there you go, Bruce. You're back.
I remember him saying that now that you bring it up.
Yeah. He said it every time.
Yep.
Yeah. Will?
No, I have no comment on this.
And Trevor?
No, I agree. I think it should be, I think it's unnecessary.
Yep. Okay. So then I need a motion.
So moved.
Okay. Will?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor, Retha?
Yes. Aye.
Jan?
Aye.
Aaron? Aye. Will?
Aye.
Trevor, aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Condition 17, we're getting there. The applicant shall provide a shuttle service to transport its employees to and from the site to minimize the demand for employees' parking spaces, particularly during the peak summer business season from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And before anybody says anything, this was the applicant's idea, not ours.
Well,
It was.
Yes.
I can only smile, forgive me, and say, well, I wasn't there when they applied.
No, we were willing to go above and beyond just to get the license.
Understood. No, and our point, fair points for sure. Let me just quickly read the explanation, and Larissa, again, you have the direct familiarity. I won't read it word for word. But the past summer, total of 19 employees, including the management, which was below the 24 employee count that had been projected. And based on the business schedule and employee shifts and all of that, there were never more than 8 employees at any given time. And the employee parking area easily accommodated that. And I think there was some previous discussion about really great availability in general with the parking at the facility. So, pure and simple, it just seems to be an unnecessary thing to do. And of course, the reality is that all these things, especially cumulatively, have and would continue to add cost. And I don't know that, Larissa, you need to add anything. That's the basic justification.
Yes, that number came from the summer season. I just wanted to, when we were the busiest. So right now we only have 3 people plus a management. So in the winter time, it's like not even there.
Yeah. Okay. Further discussion on that one? Anybody? I'll just let you jump in here if you want to. If not, I can entertain a motion.
I would move that we remove condition 17.
Okay, I need a second.
I'll second it.
Will seconds it. All in favor, Retha?
Aye.
Sharon, aye. Will?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Okay, now we get into some interesting things. Condition 18, applicant shall not erect any signage on the property with the exception of signage to designate handicapped spaces, employee parking spaces, 10-minute express pickup parking spaces, and 30-minute parking spaces, which sign shall be 8 inches by 12 inches, and shall be installed consistent with the material provided to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Further, applicant shall cause to be removed existing roof-mounted signs for the South Wellfleet General Store and the local produce patch. And to the extent the applicant has the authority to do so, applicant may cause to be removed the ground sign for the South Wellfleet General Store. Nothing in this condition shall prohibit an applicant from installing window films or artwork on its windows or doors for identification purposes. In no event shall any signage, window film, artwork, or similar means of identification include the words marijuana, cannabis, or similar language that would identify the type of facility or nature of business carried on therein. So there you go. The modifications are to, you can do that one, Mr. Freeman.
Sure. So in a nutshell, one of the things that is significant is that the CMR on the Cannabis Control Commission, in terms of not using the word cannabis, cannabis or dispensary of marijuana, et cetera, that's been clarified and changed so that it is now permissible. And to that point, as you know, I'm not going to try to screen share the photo of the signs, but the two other ones do not have signs with those very words. And you know, I think that's fine, but the important thing is the law. So that's the biggest change. And naturally, you know, we think that to treat the similarly situated retailers is appropriate, you know, to not impose an undue burden on any one of them. And you know, then we are also describing, or the request describes the actual details on the sign, which if you agree to let us have a sign, I'm pretty sure, and Larissa, you can confirm, when we discussed it, I believe I confirmed with you that what we're proposing is actually allowed, I believe, as of right. You know, we know that we would have to follow whatever the zoning bylaw requires and get the building commissioner's permission. But I don't believe we're asking for a waiver of any of what the current sign regulations require, just the fact that we would now be allowed to have a sign.
Correct. We just want the sign.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And you want to change the window films to display the same content
you.
as the sign. So in other words, to put cannabis on the window film as well.
It's part of our logo, which
Yes.
kind of, you can't take a word out of that. We're going to promote Cape Cod.
Right. Right. Yeah. Discussion. Yes, Will.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a request for different size signs, and I don't think that's our purview. I think that when I first read this, I said, obviously, I think we should not have any sign rulings come out of our body, but that's up to the building inspector. And as long as they comply with all the town regulations, then they should be able to do what they please, just like any other business would in town. So I'm not sure I want to say that their sign can be this size or that size. Just say we make, you know, we're not going to restrict their signs at all. They just need to get the approval of the building commissioner.
Right. The condition we're changing is that they can put cannabis on it, which we said they could not.
Right.
Yeah. Any other comments? No. Yes, Jan.
I'm just I'm thinking exactly like Will. I just want to make sure I'm not sure how we're going to word this or not word anything, just remove it so that we're not approving any kind of sign, because that's absolutely
what I have in what Mr. Freeman asked me for requesting the modification is a single two-sided sign with the company logo and including a designation as a cannabis dispensary in accordance with sections, and I listed all the sections of the Wellfleet zoning bylaw, to be located in proximity to the place where the local produce patch sign was previously located. It is understood that the applicant will be required to obtain a permit from the building inspector in order to erect the sign. It seems to me that covers that they must follow the signing laws.
It's the two-sided part that's getting to me? I mean, somebody
Yeah,
refresh my memory. I thought that the produce patch sign, wasn't it just flush against? I'm not sure how they're gonna get a two-sided sign. I'm concerned about including
Larissa.
that in there.
Yes, I can tell you because I studied that section, and I
Yep.
think you can wake me up and I'll tell you what it says.
Yeah.
The two-sided does count as one.
No, that I
according to the
know.
Zoning bylaw.
Mhm. Yeah.
That I
Since
know.
the two signs were pre-existing and they had more square footage to it. And I will be willing to do it the way we had it, because according to that, we could have two signs then.
Mhm.
But since you deem it non-existent, so it really didn't really matter what kind of signs they had. We took them down as per your request, and we're just asking to have a sign, which according to your zoning bylaws is a buildings department section.
I think
We're just asking you if we could, if you will allow us, as to the position that's stated in the document that you just read.
Mhm.
We are trying to put a two-sided sign so you could see from the bike shop and also on the 6A.
Mhm.
But because of the situation, and the building department might ask us to move it to the other roof. So I would not limit where it is, because the building might have to adjust the location of the sign. And it might not be able to do
Mhm.
a double-sided sign because of the location, if they will have to move it. So we're just asking for you to remove of no signage that we originally proposed, because
Mhm.
based on the, at that time, we weren't allowed to have the word cannabis in it, and our logo has the word cannabis. So we propose not to have a sign on the mere fact that it has a word in it and we can't put it up. So what we
I
ask.
understand. I do understand. I don't want to limit your sign. But I'm agreeing with what Will said. I want to be careful how we word this, so we're not approving a two-sided sign if the building inspector that says, yeah, no, they can't have that. It's against the zoning regulation. I just want to be really careful how we word this, so we don't try and overstep the building inspector. We shouldn't be limiting.
I hear you, and perhaps I could have phrased it more clearly, but I'm in total agreement with what you all said. I think the simple way to do it is to move the condition, there can be no sign, and say simply, therefore a sign shall be permitted consistent with whatever the applicable sign bylaws are.
Right.
Section 7 signs.
Yeah, just say a sign. Mhm.
That's all I'm asking. I mean,
Yeah.
and then it's
Mhm.
between you and the building inspector.
Yeah.
Yep.
Consistent with all those sections of the zoning code, and that you get a building permit to do it. Will, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just said, let's not overcomplicate it. I
Right.
think all we
Mhm.
need to say is that our board imposes no obligations on the sign,
Mhm.
what it says or size or where it is,
Mhm.
but whatever they do get just has to be approved by the building commissioner.
Right.
Real
Okay.
simple. I wouldn't overcomplicate it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Yep. Anything else before we vote on that one?
Yes, because I
Yes.
almost forgot, but you had pointed out, Madam Chairman, also the second part about the film. I don't know if you want to
Yeah.
vote separately on the sign itself or just do them together.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing. We will do those together.
Okay.
Yeah, they want to make they want us to have the same logo on the films that they have on the sign. And the only reason we're involved in this is because their logo has cannabis in it, and we said they couldn't say cannabis, and now they can, so we're removing that restriction.
Could you read this again to us, Sharon, what we're voting on?
Sure. They're requesting these modifications. The sign shall be erected with the company logo in accordance with section 7.2.3, etc. I'm not going to say where you're going to locate it because not my problem. It is understood that the applicant will be required to obtain a permit from the building inspector in order to erect the sign. And the applicant further requests approval to change the existing window films to display the same content as the proposed sign.
I'm
Yep.
okay with that, but I think we should just say section 7 signs, because that would include the entirety of the sign bylaw.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Section 7 signs.
I have
Perfect.
a question on it. We don't need a building permit to change the window films.
No, No,
Okay.
just the sign.
Okay,
The building, the window film is a separate thing. Yes, you're right.
Okay.
Absolutely. Good catch. No, you don't need a building permit for that. No. Okay. Are you ready for a vote? Yes. I need a motion.
I move to approve the motion you just made.
Okay, second.
Second,
Okay, Trevor seconds. Retha,
Aye.
Jan,
Yes.
Trevor,
yes, I,
Will.
Aye.
And Sharon, aye. Okay. Condition 21. Within 6 months of commencing operations, applicant agrees to fund in whole or in part a feasibility study for traffic and safety improvements within the Route 6 right-of-way in an amount as determined by the select board. A copy of the feasibility study shall be provided to the Zoning Board of Appeals, who shall hold a public hearing on same and determine whether additional traffic or safety measures should be implemented at this property and incorporated into this decision.
So this one is similar, but a little different, including the select board public hearing, which I'm not sure actually looking back how that can be something that any other board of the town can order the select board to do. And that's not criticizing, the board, your board at all, just again, I wasn't here. But more importantly is not a technicality like that. It's just the substance of it, which I think is substantially the same as what we said before. And maybe even more so when it talks about, the Route 6 right of way, which again is utilized by far more than, the applicant. So essentially that's the same reasoning.
Larissa.
yes, I think this was also one of our ideas to mitigate the traffic. But since there's no traffic, we think that we don't need to do it.
Fair enough. Discussion on this one. Yeah, this one seems like the State Highway Department's responsibility, to be honest.
no, I mean, there's definitely a traffic problem at that intersection, but I don't think it has anything to do with Cape Cod cannabis.
Right, I agree.
So I make a motion to withdraw that.
Draw that. Need a second?
Second.
Second it.
Okay, okay, all in favor? Retha? Will?
Aye.
Jan?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
And Sharon, aye. Okay, now on to trees. Condition 25. Applicant shall plant new native tree species in accordance with the landscaping plan dated 5/28/20. The existing perimeter vegetation will not be removed or modified. Together, the new and existing landscaping shall be maintained to form a natural vegetative barrier and shield the parking from adjacent streets and properties. Applicant shall replace and replant trees that do not thrive or survive the 2 full planting seasons.
So the explanation on this one in part is because of the construction of the rail trail, the bike trail, and they just couldn't do it. So as the request is phrased, it's in the alternative to postpone or waive. We don't think that the requirement, I think it would come down to 3 more trees, is particularly significant in terms of any benefit to to neighbors, certainly still acknowledging, wanting to be good neighbors on our own. But that said, it just seems as though it's proven to be impractical, even probably for this season, given the construction. Far be it for me to say the wisdom of, whether, the trees are still required. But certainly I think relief in terms of the timing of it is necessary. And Larissa, if you want to, add any words on that, please go ahead.
Yes, I included the calculations of what we've done, but I don't, since there's nothing right now between us and the parking lot for the bike trail, I don't know what are they going to replant it? If they're gonna replant it, is there still a need for us to plant that 1 tree? And if they won't replant it, what is their idea to kind of separate the properties? Because it was beautiful before they demolished the whole thing. And it was kind of separating and blocking the view from the houses and the neighboring into the plaza. And our back building is not the prettiest one to look at. So I would think that if they will replant all the trees, we don't even need to plant anything.
Okay, and I have Mr. O'Connor again. Yes.
Bill O'Connor from Lookout Hollow. The planting was supposed to be on their side of the property to block the building. So what the bike path has done on their side of the property really has no effect. I agree, maybe it needs to be postponed, but waiving, I don't think they should do. I think they should plant the trees that were supposed to be there as a buffer between the Blakely's house and our house, and follow through on the condition that they agreed to.
Well, I don't think one tree will will plant it, because there was a vegetation and they couldn't draw the line of where the vegetation was. So they took everything from the beginning of Blue Willow all the way to the LeCount Road. The whole side was removed, and we didn't remove it. So if planting one tree will somehow save it, we'll agree to it. But I think that they have to replant what they took out.
Yeah. Hey, who do I want to start with here? Will.
Yeah, but I think I wouldn't waive it either. I would just recommend that we postpone it and see what transpires.
Yeah. Al?
I would agree with Will on that. Yep.
Jan?
I agree with Will, except that I believe Larissa said that it's one tree, but that's not what this narrative says. It says that the parking spaces and it would be 3 trees.
Yeah, it was 3 trees.
So on that area, there's only one tree on that side.
Yeah,
I believe. So
the
in total, it would be as proposed in the original ZBA.
I don't know what the calculations are, but whatever trees you're required to plant, I think according to our bylaw, I think that we should hold you to that.
Rita?
I think this should be postponed. And discussed or decided on after the whole construction thing is done.
Trevor?
You're muted.
I'm not sure I exactly understand what trees are proposed or not proposed or what, but I think if we're leaning towards postponing it anyhow, I think that's fair. I don't think it's. I'd be hesitant to eliminate any requirement for vegetative planting at all. But again, like I said, I'm not sure I exactly understand what's being asked. If we're just postponing it, then I think that's fine.
I would like us to postpone it. I would like us to see the landscaping plan when we, when the bike path stops ripping everything up there. I would like them to come back with the landscaping plan and tell us what's still feasible and what isn't, and what has been done and what hasn't, because I agree with you. We like vegetative borders. So, and I think, this one, I wouldn't want to waive. I would rather postpone.
And I can certainly agree with that. I think that's very fair. I think on this one, we actually, or you rather, should postpone it. I don't know what the applicable time frame is in terms of the completion of the rail trail and all of that. But I think on this one also, you need to modify it to say, and to revisit the landscaping requirement at that time, which doesn't in any way commit you to not requiring whatever, the bylaw requires, I think that that's an appropriate way to deal with it.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
If we're gonna postpone it, and since we have to build it to do it in the spring, I think the timeline should be for 2023, because we're not gonna make it, they will not complete it by the spring season to plant it. And if we're gonna leave it just the way it is, and we're just gonna replant it according to the plan that we had, because I don't think we should be, even if they took it out, it should be on us to replant the whole thing. Because they did take out the whole line of vegetation. And I don't know their permit and what their agreement was on replanting it. But when we went through it, there was a whole line of the trees. And we will do whatever it says right now in the permit
Mhm.
based on the plans provided and the tree locations that it was provided.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
just gonna postpone it till 2023 season.
Yeah, so that you need to come before us, maybe before that, before a good time to plant. So that we could see it. So maybe,
in the
in
fall.
well, yeah, or March.
How
I
about in
mean,
a year?
yeah,
In
like
in
a
a
year from
year?
now. Yeah,
Mhm.
we could postpone for a year. They could come back in a year with a different plan
Yeah,
based on what has been done and what it looks like at this point. And then they have plenty of time to adjust it and plant. Does that
I
make
think that
sense?
sorry, Madam Chair. I think
Yeah.
that makes sense. And Larissa, what we could do and members of the board, if for
Mhm.
some reason things aren't complete or it's up in the air, I mean, it would be close enough in time to the spring that
Mhm.
the hearing could be opened. If it can be all concluded, that's
Mhm.
fine. But if necessary, we could just agree to a continuance,
Okay.
that would be.
Mhm. Yeah. So then our motion would be that the board will postpone the tree planting requirement and ask that the applicant come back 1 year from now in order to revisit the landscaping plan. Jan,
I just have a question for
Sure.
Larissa through you, Sharon. Larissa, I think this is what I heard. You did submit a landscape plan. We asked for that, right?
Yes, there
Yeah.
is,
So
we
I think-
agreed on the trees, what kind of trees we were gonna
Yeah.
plant and the
Mhm,
location
mhm.
of those
And
trees.
what you're saying, and I hear you, is that you're gonna come back to us with that plan because you shouldn't be responsible for all the trees that the
Right.
state has torn up.
Mhm.
And I hear you and
Correct.
I understand. I agree with you.
Mhm.
And on that
Thank
side, that is between us and the bike trail, according to the plan that we provided originally in 2020,
Yeah.
there's only one tree
Okay,
that goes there.
Yeah.
So I was just,
Mhm.
I'm more concerned that I want the vegetation there. I want us to be blocked out because I don't
Mhm.
want to see the parking lot, the cars moving, we have deliveries. It's also our security. We
Yeah.
have a loading dock in the back there. I don't want everybody speaking in from the bike trail.
Yeah.
So I just hope that whoever is in charge of the project for the bike trail, they will replant everything that they took out. And this is, it is a very large concern for us in terms of safety.
Mhm.
Sure.
Mhm. Okay, what I have as a thing is the board will postpone the tree planting requirement for 1 year when the applicant return and revisit the landscape plan.
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Retha,
Aye.
Will,
Aye.
Jan,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
and Sharon. Aye. All right, last little bit. There are 4 conditions, conditions 3, 19, 22, and 23 that the applicant has completed. And they would like the board to affirm that they have met those conditions. They are condition 3, special permit not to take effect until applicant has obtained final licenses from the Cannabis Control. Condition 19, the applicant's windows be tinted or covered with a special film so that the product shall not be visible from the outside. Condition 22, lighting shall be installed on the property in accordance with the lighting plan dated 5/28/20. And condition 23, applicant shall install ADA compliant wheelchair ramps at all pedestrian crossings internal to and serving the project site. I need a motion that they have satisfied those requirements.
So moved.
I need a second.
Well, wait a minute.
Yep, right.
I have no idea if condition 23 has been met. I mean,
Okay.
what do I
Right.
know? I'm sitting in my house in Wellfleet.
Okay.
I mean, I guess
You want to hear from the lawyers. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta hear something to
All right,
just
all
to
right.
put it on.
All right, Mr.
Steve.
Freeman, earn your keep here. Tell us where these
From
things
one,
are.
from one lawyer to another, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this right here, if it's wrong, we have
Yeah.
someone to blame anyway. Here.
Mhm.
I might, before Mr. Freeman, before you speak, I would say that before we actually were open, the building permit was granted based on us doing the wheelchair accessible.
Oh, I understand that. I knew you
So we would not get a license
And
without.
I understand.
to that point, we wouldn't have received the certificate of occupancy if we didn't comply.
I know.
Mhm. Yep.
All
Okay.
right.
All right. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a
moved
second?
it.
Oh, you moved
Second.
it. Yes, I know. Jan's motion was on the floor. Trevor
Second.
seconds. All in favor, Will,
Aye.
Retha,
Aye.
Jan,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
and Sharon. Aye. And that brings us to the end of them. And at this point, since no one has brought up anything that we needed to revisit, I think we can conclude that we are finished with this case.
Can I just ask one question?
Yes, you may.
How are you going to find out what the bike trail people are going to do? That's kind of interests me. Are they going to revegetate or not? I mean, is not our problem, but I think it
Mhm.
should be explored.
Yeah.
It's
I
one of
mean,
the great.
I assume the state's going to do what the state's going to do. You know, the state, you know, we don't tell the state what to do. The state is above us in the governing hierarchy. So we can hope for the best, but I don't believe we have any power over what the state does or doesn't do on their land.
No, I'm not suggesting that we do anything about it, but I think that you know, it needs to be explored.
Well, the applicant lives right next door to the place. She's going to see every last thing they do.
Well,
I think
depend-
she'll be very well aware of what they are and are not doing.
According to our landscaper, and he's seen the plans of what there will be.
Yep.
They will replant.
Okay. All
We
right.
just don't know when, because it takes them a year to do the, I don't even know what to call it, the bike trail. Parking lot. The parking
Yes.
lot.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, thank you very
Great.
much. I appreciate.
Thank you very
the
much.
attention and
Thank you
time.
so much for your
We
time.
appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a
you.
year.
Yes,
night.
we'll see you in a year. Very good. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Last case. 2204 Paul Dillio, 45 Way, 035, map 13, parcel 12-3-A, application for a special permit under Wellfleet zoning bylaws 6.1.5.2B to construct a sunroom.
Sharon, I didn't think
Yes.
of this until we started the meeting, and I don't think it matters, but I just want to disclose that I have been to some small social gatherings with Mr. Camus and his family.
All
And if
right.
that makes anybody uncomfortable, I'll be happy to.
Did he pay you off? If you have
mean,
no
cupcakes.
financial interest, then you have unless he's been paying you, you live in a
No.
small town and this is what happens.
Well, it's
Um,
Cape Cod.
And the board for this
Just
is
wanted to-
Al.
It's
Al, wake up, you're on this board. Will,
Oh, my goodness.
Jan, Trevor, and myself. Mick had asked to be excused after he recused if we had a full board, so he's not coming back. Okay, Mr. Camus.
Good evening, everybody. Fun meeting so far. You got through that pretty quickly, actually.
Just long.
No, it was actually interesting to see the whole process go through. My name is Peter Camone. I'm the builder that's been doing the renovation on the at the site, and the owners are proposing to put on a 12-by-16 sunroom. It's unheated. It's got an exterior door to it, but we run into a little bit of setback problems apparently. But there's quite a few of
Give me the measurements again. 12 by what?
12-by-16.
16. Okay.
Yep, 192 square feet
Okay.
approximately. But it seems that we, on one corner, as you can see on the plot plan that was provided, first the house is 25 feet off this corner that jets in, and the sunroom would be 14, but we still have the 25 feet from the side lot and well over the back lot if you were to draw a straight line back. But we do hit that corner.
Mm.
And we hit, well, we're unit number 1, if that wasn't clear. And we're asking if we could do this.
All right. And Chris, did we get any letters on this one?
No.
Okay. And I don't see anyone left in the audience. We wore them all out, so they're all gone.
I don't know, it was an
So-
interesting topic and all, how you went through it all.
So I will go then to the board. So Jan, you want to start?
I just have 2 quick questions, Peter,
Okay.
for you, Sharon. I just wondered, who wrote the condo unit 1 construction approval conditions? Is that the condo?
That would be the condo. That's
Okay.
the condo, the trust. That was the committee.
If, just explain to me, I went there yesterday. So there's a lot of, there's all the soil is disturbed right in back of the house. And there's a
Mhm.
lot of iron stakes.
Yep.
And then beyond that huge tree, there were also some stakes.
I believe there's somebody had marked the exclusive use lines and all like a year ago or something like that.
So those metal stakes are what? Where the porch?
Yeah, actually those metal stakes that are there, they have these little yellow blocks on them.
Yeah.
That represents the actual corners. I dug the sonotubes in, but I did not pour, because then we were notified of this situation.
I just got confused by those couple of wooden stakes that were beyond the tree.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's marking exclusive lines. Actually, if you see on the plot plan, there's some dotted lines around each unit. That's their exclusive use area sort of thing.
Oh.
Okay, it's not property lines. It's just, this is mine, this is yours, and this is yours.
Gotcha. That's what they're, okay, thank you so much.
Yep.
Hey, Trevor.
I think if the abutter to the east doesn't have any issue with this, then I don't have any issue with this. And the abutter to the east didn't write in a letter apparently and is not here, so I presume that they have no concern. So I have no concern.
Okay. All right. Retha.
Feel the same way. I don't have a concern about it.
Al.
No concerns.
Will.
No concerns.
I got 2 questions for you.
Sure.
So we're increasing the rear, we're creating a rear setback nonconformity
Mm-hmm.
by,
There's already one that exists because the house is only 25 feet off that nonconformity corner.
going to the back, and it's supposed to be 30.
I think you could just as easily call it a side setback.
Yeah, it's very
Given
confusing.
the odd shape of the lot, I don't think it's necessarily clear that that's a rear or a side. And
Well,
Yeah.
this was my problem with it, is that I couldn't figure out where we weren't meeting the setbacks, except that the 2 houses are 24 feet apart and they're supposed to be 25.
1950.
But that wasn't starting from this. But here's my other problem. This is a cottage colony by Wellfleet zoning bylaws.
Mhm.
And the house has 584 square feet. And we're going to add 192 square feet, which would make it 776. And the limit is 768.
I missed that. Oh, boy, yeah.
So, and I think a sunroom, since it's enclosed, counts.
It's technically unheated and it has an exterior door entering it. So it's not considered actually habitable space. Or it's not considered living space because it's unheated and it has an exterior grade door going into it. Well, it will. Well, it does. Just
Close
like-
enough.
Unit 2 has a sunroom.
Both units have some.
Yeah, they both have sunrooms. I'm just trying to make sure we're not violating the cottage colony bylaw. That's all. I don't specifically have a problem with this. I think it's very de minimis, but I'm looking at the rules here and trying to fill in the blanks. And
Sharon, I'm looking, I didn't even think of this. I'm looking at floor area of a building definition.
okay,
And it says the sum of the gross horizontal area of several floors of a building and its accessory buildings on the same lot excluding cellar and basement floor areas not devoted to residential use, but including the area of roof porches and roof terraces. All dimensions should be measured between exterior faces of walls. What was your total? What's the total square footage again?
The total square footage, if you add the sunroom to the existing structure, will be 764.
It was 764. I thought it was 776. All right,
The
you're okay
existing,
then.
the existing structure is 22 by 26. And
Okay.
the sunroom is 12 by 16.
Okay, so the existing structure isn't 560, 584. It's something less than that?
572, if I check my math again one more time. here.
572.
22 times 26, if my Nauset High School, 572.
That's good.
It's
Works for
coming in
me.
handy.
All right, so and we're adding
Yeah, finally.
192, so we're getting to 464.
Yeah.
All right, you're all right. You got 4 feet to spare.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right. That
Yeah.
was my only concern, although I don't know how, I have to confess that I'm trying to figure out, I mean, Will did this draft for me and then I played around with it. Thank you, Will. But I don't know how to word the setback.
I call it a side setback.
All right, so, and I will say the addition will increase the side setback nonconformity?
Yep.
Okay, all right. I can do that. All right, so.
I move to go to findings.
Yeah, okay, move to go to findings. I need a second.
Second,
I'll second. All right, so the application is for a special permit to allow for an addition to the property of 192 square foot addition, which is hereinafter referred to as the addition. The structure is entitled to a special permit because it is pre-existing non-conforming, having been built in 1950 according to the assessor's records. The current structure, which is the subject of this application, is one of 3 on a parcel of land containing 3 structures, all held by separate title under a condominium created in 1985. Wellfleet zoning bylaw requires 4,000 square feet per building unit. The current structure has how much? You know, how much square footage it has?
The existing structure?
Yeah.
The
I mean,
one we said
what's
was-
its lot size?
Oh, the lot size is area of 4,000 square feet.
Okay.
For 4K.
Yeah. As 4,000 square feet. Good. The Wellfleet zoning bylaw requires that each cottage be 25 feet from the others. This cottage is non-conforming as it is 24 feet from the neighboring cottage. This cottage is 572 square feet. The addition of 192 square feet will be 464 square feet, which is within the limit of 768 square feet for a cottage in a cottage colony. The addition will increase the side setback nonconformity. The applicant has received a statement of conditions from the condominium association, which approves the project. The applicable provisions for this application under the Town of Wellfleet zoning bylaws are section 5.4.2, section 5.4.11, and section 6.1.5.2b, and section 8.4.2. The board finds that the construction of the addition is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming use. Section 8.4.2, the board finds that the addition is suitable in that it is compatible with nearby land uses which would not be damaged by the addition. The board finds that the roads, drainage, and other public utilities would not be affected by the addition. The board finds that the addition will not contribute to environmental damage. Section 8.4.2.2 is not applicable, and section 8.4.2.3, the board finds that the building and site design will not adversely affect scenic views from public ways or neighboring properties.
I move to accept the findings.
All right, I need a second.
second,
Al seconds. All in favor? Will?
Aye.
Al?
Aye.
Jan?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
And Sharon, aye. I need a move to grant the permit based on the finding.
I'll move to grant the permit based on.
Second.
the
I will second. All in favor, Will?
Aye.
Al?
Aye.
Jan?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
And Sharon? Aye. All right, there you go.
Thank you very
Mr.
much,
Como,
everyone.
thank you for straightening that all out with me. And We have one last case.
Have a good evening, everybody.
You too, you can finally get off. 2205 Parkington, 30 Kelly Way, map 23, parcel 219.1, application for a special permit under Wellfleet zoning bylaw 5.4.2 to construct a living room and mudroom addition within the setbacks. This says on our thing to be continued, but in fact, the applicant would like to withdraw without prejudice. And they would like, on behalf of the Parkingtons for the property, and they were requesting that we waive the fee for the future filing. They were trying to get this ready, and they don't feel it's ready, and they need help. And so now they were trying to save money by doing it. They decided they need a lawyer. They have paid the fee. They would like to have the future fee waived.
Well,
yes.
I mean, I'm fine with them withdrawing, but doesn't the fee pay for all the advertising and whatnot? And hasn't that already been done? And now it'll have to be done again?
I'm afraid that's the case. Yes.
So I think that they're going to have to suck it up and pay the $50.
Yeah.
But I will.
Yeah, I agree with that, Trevor.
I do too.
Yeah.
I'll get back with them because it is my time. Paper.
And the town of Wellfleet has no money.
Our legal fees are getting really
Yeah.
up there with
Yeah.
our ads.
Right. So
Plus the postage. So yeah, $50.
Yeah.
right. That's where I would be too. Okay. So Trevor has moved that we accept their.
Well, can we get a board?
Oh, I'm sorry. I do need a board, don't I? I was thinking I didn't need a board. Okay. Retha, Trevor, myself, Jan, and Will. All right. And Trevor has moved to allow them to withdraw without prejudice. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor, Retha?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Aye. Jan?
Oh, aye.
And Will?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. There's one last piece of paper here for you. This is from Laura Kozak, and she wanted it read to the board. Sorry this is so late, but I still want to thank the ZBA for all the work they do for us. Lots of reading and preparing on their part. Please pass on my thank you to the members.
That was very
There you
nice.
go. That was very nice. It's always nice to be thanked once in a while.
Oh, if she only knew what we got paid.
That's right. Oh, you didn't get your overtime, huh?
It sure beats being
meeting minutes
sued.
from
You know, it sure
January.
beats being sued on a regular basis. you know?
Okay. Okay, so this is, that's, so I need a motion to adjourn then.
Now,
You've
can
all
we
worked
do
very hard.
Minutes. Chris,
Chris wants to do minutes.
What? Oh, minutes,
Minutes.
that's right, minutes. I'm sorry, Chris. Minutes. We have the
did they
minutes
go
from,
out?
yeah, they went out. I think they went out. Chris, did the minutes go out?
I
I don't think they went out to the board. You and I
don't remember seeing them.
edited it. They didn't go
Yeah.
out.
Okay, I'll get them out tomorrow.
Okay, so we'll vote on
Oh.
them next time. Keep us honest about that.
I move we adjourn.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Good night,
everyone.
good night, all.
Thank you. All right, Chris, I will get these ready for you. They're a little bit of a mess, so it'll take me a while, but
Yeah.
I will get them before we and you can turn the recording off.
Okay, wait, let me,
Turn the recording off. That way
I
can-
gotta see where I'm at.